Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Coline Witt, and today we have very special guest, actress, writer, filmmaker, director. I didn't want to add all those titles, I'm sorry. ASHLEY VERSHER is in the building.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm hungry.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though I did have like a bagel with lox bread.
You hungry? That's a
That
good
was earlier.
breakfast.
That was earlier.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, semi-hungry. Well, you had virtually one of the cheapest dishes on the show. So it was very easy. It was just like walk in, walk out. Why don't you tell our listeners and our audience, what are you going to have me eating today?
I'm going to be having you eat some eggs.
Eggs, plain and simple. It was like
Simple.
eggs, salt and pepper, and you said olive oil,
Yeah.
which, we're going to find out what it's like to eat eggs in olive oil today. Never did it. I don't think I've ever done it.
Okay, this is good. And the pepper is optional.
The pepper's optional.
It's true.
Okay. She didn't even ask for Lawry's, guys.
Nah.
Start passing judgment.
Lawry's on
Right
the
now.
eggs? I've never
You
had
know
that.
what? Believe it or not, there are some black folks out there that have never seen regular salt. I truly believe this.
I have a lot of respect for Lawry's, though, so I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, why don't you get in the kitchen,
Okay.
start cooking these eggs. What kind of eggs are you going to make today?
I'm just going to make scrambled eggs.
Scrambled. You
I
can't
think
mess
that's
it
so
up.
good. You
can't mess it
can,
up.
but you can't.
We're going to judge these eggs now.
How do you like your eggs?
I like over medium.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I eat eggs any which way.
Not hard.
No, I do runny sometimes. It depends if I want a gooey, if we got
Okay.
hash browns, do it runny.
Okay.
If it's just like some sausage and eggs, do it hard,
All right, we're going to make some eggs. This is going to be exciting.
Go ahead.
I'm a little nervous.
This simple dish. So I have a saying, the broker the dish, the better the story.
Oh,
Okay, now being an actress,
yeah.
give us some insight that I'm sure it can
backwards.
be. You got it.
Look, the stress is coming to me now.
Yeah,
The
you just
pressure.
turned it off.
I know.
You're
It needed to
hilarious.
go off. It needs to go off. I was like, it's too much stress, so we're going to start slow. So we're cracking eggs. I'm going to just bang it on the counter.
Go for it.
Do we need a lesson in that? I don't think so.
No.
I've heard things, though. People drop eggs. They drop them on the counter to crack them perfectly.
Really?
Yeah, from like a low height, like they do that.
Let's see.
And apparently it cracks.
Did it
that's
do
pretty
it?
nice.
Really?
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
I just like to do a nice crack real hard on the side of the pot.
You just like to. That feels like like an emotional way of
Yeah,
cooking.
like
I
a-
like it. We don't
Feel
have
professional.
a rag, but I'll just use a napkin.
Yeah.
Let's,
You need a napkin?
Yeah, I'll just use a napkin and wipe my hands off. So this is part of the broke aspect, is getting all the.
You're hilarious.
Yeah, it might be broke.
many eggs
and,
are you
like,
cooking?
borderline.
These eggs are like $1 an egg.
I'm cooking 4 eggs. We're cooking all the eggs. It's protein. It's
4
fat.
eggs. That's
a
a
whole
$4 meal. Back in the day, Ashley
Uh-oh.
was living on. How much was eggs back in the day?
I don't know, but they were super cheap because I have a fond memory of the giant cart from Costco of white eggs.
White eggs.
And my
Yo,
mom
can
used to
you
buy.
tell our listeners that little joke you made about the brown eggs versus the white?
Oh, I don't know. I told you
It was
just in the
so
moment.
funny.
I
She
know,
had
she's on camera.
something like, God forbid we eat a white egg or something like that. Just so true, because when we were shopping, I said there's white eggs or brown eggs. It's gonna look like real cheap.
Nobody
We
knows
buy
what's
the
in the
white
white
eggs.
eggs. Everybody's freaking out about the eggs. It's getting real. Like the soy in the eggs. There's corn. I emailed some farms.
No, you didn't.
I did. I emailed some farms because I was really curious about this because everybody really started freaking out about the eggs. So I was like, okay, what's up? We want eggs with no soy, with no corn. So I emailed some farms. And the farm said, listen, we do our best, but it's really impossible or next to impossible to grow what we need, or not grow, but they're eggs, so I guess they're being birthed or whatever. Who knows what that's called. But to get what we need, get the amount that we need, it's impossible to just feed them things that don't include any corn or soy. So they do some corn and soy substitutions.
Did you
to
really
feed
do
it.
this?
Yeah. I emailed 2 farms. They were so nice.
That's hilarious.
They responded.
If I knew where the farms were, I would just go up there and scoop up some eggs.
Okay, I thought about it. So there's one in San Diego, but it's too far to drive from LA.
That's funny.
All right,
I have
so
a girlfriend that goes online and she purchases her eggs directly from the farms. And if you thought $7 a carton or $10 a carton was expensive, good Lord, she's spending like $15, $20 a carton.
Yeah.
She like, but they real. I'm like, you might as well just get some chickens for that.
They are.
You know?
It's sad because eggs used to be really affordable, and I think they're just not.
Now what are you going to do if I guess hopefully you never have to go back in time to the eggs. But could you imagine being broke right now and then you're like, damn.
I don't know what I'm going to eat. What would you eat for breakfast? What do you do?
What I do with my daughter every day. Cereal.
What do you do? Cereal. It's not, but what kind of cereal?
We buy the expensive on-name brand Fruity Pebbles and all that. We
you're
don't buy
giving
the
her
knockoffs.
the good stuff.
We don't buy her the knockoffs.
The good, fun,
the
tasty cereal.
When you grow up off the knockoffs, you never, ever want to go back.
That's fair.
You know? So, all right. Take me back to what was going on in this I Need to Survive on Eggs.
I don't know. I think I have just general fond memories of breakfast. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a house where my dad used to make breakfast for us on like Saturday mornings. So he'd make pancakes, apple cinnamon, like for apples, like with cinnamon and sugar, like a whole like little compote kind of thing.
He would do real apples?
Yeah. He'd like slice them and everything. Yeah. In the morning, I would just like be like, apples. And he'd be like, yeah.
But would he put them in the pancakes?
No. So you put them on top. So it'd be like a whole separate thing. He'd make like the apples and the cinnamon and sugar and make a whole thing. Mm-hmm. So you have like pancakes, apples, bacon, and then we'd have eggs.
And you came on this show and presented us with just eggs. Got it. We had to live the full broke experience. We couldn't live the daddy experience.
No, my parents weren't broke.
Okay, clearly not. Clearly not.
I mean,
so you come from a two-parent household.
I do. I come from a two-parent household
where your daddy makes good breakfast.
My daddy is the cook in the household.
Oh, he's the cook.
Yeah, he's the cook in the household.
How come he only cooked on the weekends then?
No. This is just like our weekend thing. So Saturday mornings when I was a kid, he would make like a full like breakfast.
Okay.
Like a full breakfast for us, and we'd all like go downstairs and have breakfast, and he'd like call up to us when breakfast was ready, and then we'd go downstairs for breakfast.
And what was your mama doing during this?
Sleeping. My mom worked really hard. They both worked really hard, but I think they had a really good, balance in terms of like
there was never a discussion about it. It was just like.
No, because I think, my mom did like a lot of the school pickups and like the after school activities because my dad couldn't do it because of his job. And so I think like also like cooking was like a way for him to express his love for us too. So yeah, that's like she'd be sleeping. He'd be like, breakfast is ready, and we'd all like get up and go downstairs. It's important you go downstairs right away, though.
Yeah,
that was
gonna
important.
serve that breakfast hot.
He was serving that breakfast hot.
Anyone who cooks feels that way.
Yeah.
I say dinner's ready.
It's ready.
2 minutes.
Arrive.
Wash the hands and come sit.
Yes,
I can't stand when I cook something and someone take 30 minutes to get up off the couch. Like I just mad, right?
Yeah, it's upsetting. I'm not okay with it.
So all right, so what's going on during this eggs era?
Okay, so that's like my beginner of that. And then I think probably when I first moved back to Los Angeles, this is before I decided I wanted to be an actor. I moved to Los Angeles. I got a job at Kaiser Permanente, and I didn't have any money.
What were you doing at Kaiser?
I worked in medical education at Kaiser Permanente, on the Kaiser on Sunset, and I had no money, so I used to buy the soup from the cafeteria with bread because it was super cheap. Like the cafeteria, I know it's cafeteria food, but whatever. Yeah. It was super cheap, and yeah, I would eat it for breakfast. But even
at Kaiser, even with a day job, you were still broke?
Yeah, I mean, I was like young, and I was like trying to figure it out, and I moved here, so I didn't have money. Like, when you first, especially when you first get a job, you don't have any money. Like, you're like, can you please just like, can I get advanced on the paycheck? Like that would have been really great to get an advance on the paycheck.
I would love to see you do a actual ask on that.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, I did ask for some things later, and they were like, maybe not. Yeah, and so I think that's kind of probably like when this really happened because I used to have eggs for breakfast. It's easy.
And during this day job, you said you didn't know you were going to be an actress yet?
No, I did not. I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
You went to college?
I did.
What'd you go to college for?
I don't know. what I went to college for, but I did major in psychology. Why I went to college is the strong. There's so many questions, I guess, because you're supposed to.
Did you complete?
Yes, I graduated.
Oh, so did you do it to make your parents happy?
No, I mean, I think I always knew I would go to college, but I had been in the arts from a very young age, and I'm gonna turn this off. And the arts is really strange and challenging in a different way. And so I think it was really hard to figure out where I was going to go. I was a musician for a very long time. So
what kind of musician?
Violinist.
You're a violinist?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a really long time.
Damn, I wish I would have known that.
Okay, I think these eggs are done.
Okay, so
are you having
doing
eggs?
violin? Yes,
Okay.
I'm judging your eggs
You're
because
judging my
guys,
eggs.
she cooked them. She was like folding.
You're judging my eggs.
She was folding. I don't know if the inside is gonna even be cooked.
It's gonna be a little runny. You said you like it a little creamy.
I've never had.
This is yours.
I've never had.
You're served first.
We gonna see.
Did
you season these?
No, you can season them now.
Oh, we judging her cooking. Do you cook now?
Yeah,
You
love cooking. Yeah.
Okay.
I really can cook.
Okay, we gonna. She didn't put salt or pepper, guys.
No, because you can't taste it if you put it in there while you're cooking it. So you put it in afterwards. And you can do it on your own however much you like. Eggs are done. I'm actually quite hungry.
Did you eat?
I had some turkey.
Turkey for breakfast?
And a baby bell.
A baby bell?
Yeah, you know the cheese.
You mean those little cheese things?
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you on an actress type diet?
No, I was just like pulling my life together this morning.
All right, let's do a taste test. I added salt and pepper. She just added salt, guys. It was really good, actually.
Thanks. I'd be okay if you didn't like them.
I've never actually had fluffy eggs like this.
Yeah, that's
not this fluffy.
I will say I think butter would be better because it adds more to the flavor, as you know, because you cook with so much butter, which is amazing. But I do think the technique is the fluffy.
You know what's crazy is that I always think you have to like overcook the eggs. This is pretty good. I'm actually impressed with your. I was judging. I was like, oh Lord, I'm not eating these. Okay. I can have breakfast at your house. This is the most fluffiest restaurant style scrambled eggs I've had.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oops, got some eggs stuck.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're at Kaiser. You're working.
Yeah.
Are you doing roommates?
No, so okay, yes. So I had a friend of mine who let me live in her living room.
I love LA. When I first moved there, I did the same thing. I was living in someone's squatting in the living room.
Yeah, I was living in the living room. She had a twin size bed in the living room.
Oh, you got a bed?
Yeah, I got a bed. She had a twin size bed in the living room. And she let me live there for like a while. Like she didn't really actually like tell me I had to leave. But eventually I was in traffic coming home from Hollywood to Westchester. And it was Christmas time. And it took me like 2 hours to get home. And I was like, I have to move.
Where in LA did she live?
Westchester, by the airport. It shouldn't have taken that long.
Okay.
But it was Christmas time. And, you know, especially like at this is pre-pandemic. So like the traffic was just like remarkable.
Did you drive during the pandemic? Wasn't it nice to like
wasn't
go
here.
everywhere? Where'd you go?
I was in New York at first, and then I was
York,
in.
Jesus.
I lived in New York for a long time, and then I was in Hollywood. No, New York. I was in New Orleans, and then I was in South Carolina, and then LA.
All during the pandemic. I know New York got hit bad. Like people were terrified in New York.
Yeah, it was rough.
They were like, "There's dead bodies. They're piling up."
It was not
They'd
good.
be like, "Pizza, drop it by the door."
You know, I like the
Back
clapping.
away.
We did the clapping at 7:00. Like you go to the window and you clap to feel like, you know, like community and in unity. It was bad. It was such a bad time. It was so bad. I had COVID early on. My husband and I both had COVID at the beginning.
Dang.
Yeah, it was not. People were being in the afterwards. My friends were like, "We didn't want to tell you how bad you guys look, but we were deeply concerned." It was hard. It was so hard.
You know what sucked is that if you got COVID, you had to live in like quarantine.
I lived in a New York-sized apartment. I didn't know how small my apartment was until I moved to Los Angeles, but it was.
Yeah.
incredibly small. I found myself standing on like the fake fire escape balcony, like yelling to people I didn't know just to say hi to people. I just really I'm not an extrovert, but I really needed some alternate human contact.
Call back.
Rough.
All right, so going back to Kaiser,
Yes.
you're chilling on this twin bed in this living room. You're working a day job. I'm guessing you're making probably like $10 an hour at this point because you're struggling still.
No, I made pretty good money. I will say that it wasn't that bad.
What were you spending your money on?
I mean, I lived in LA. Oh, I had
You were in a twin.
Okay, so when I was first on the twin, I was like just like saving money to put money together. So like maybe I spent actually I think I spent a lot of money on food, like ordering out. I think I ordered out a lot, and then
in addition to your soup.
Yeah. Yeah, that was real. I really ate that soup. And then maybe 6 months later, I think, or something like that, is when Christmas came. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to move. Okay. And then I had money to go and be like, okay, great, I'm going to move into my own apartment. And I think
that's when real struggle entered.
I'm trying to remember the timeline. No. I had a roommate. Oh my God, I forgot about that. So I had a roommate. I went and moved into another apartment with a roommate. And then that was so strange. But then around that time frame is when I was like, I wanted to become an actor around that time.
And what started that impulse?
I was taking classes at UCLA Extension, and I was really like interested in communication because I was just, it's such a nightmare when you're trying to figure out what you want to do. And there's a lot of, there's so many outside voices, I think, just throughout your whole life about what you're going to do career-wise. And this woman came in there. I saw her like a month ago, actually. This woman came in there who is an actress, and it was like a mock interview that they were trying to teach us. And she just like told a little bit of her story, and like, I don't know, the inside of my body just like caught fire. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta go talk to her. I have to go talk to her. So like she left the class, and I like ran after her. And I was like, hey, can you tell me like how to do what you're doing? Like, what do I do? And that was kind of the real like beginning of like that, of me taking action towards that. And then like the pursuit of acting is incredibly expensive. So it's like you're taking classes, you get headshots, and you're just kind of trying to figure the whole thing out. So I think like I wasn't making a lot of money. So yeah, I think that's kind of where it was going a bit eventually. Eventually, like a lot of my money that I was making was going to like me taking acting classes and that sort of thing.
And did you tell your family right away that that's what you were going to pursue?
So I decided that I was going to pursue that, and then I signed up for an intro to acting class. I took the class. The last class we did that scene from Love and Basketball where it's Sanaa Lathan and Alfre Woodard in the kitchen when she's an adult. And there was a casting director in there from CBS who I have no idea who that man is, but we did the scene with my scene partner, and he was like, she was a seasoned older black actress, and she was amazing. And he was like, have you acted before? And I was like, no. And he was like, so this is your first time doing this thing? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, and you like it? And I was like, yeah. And he was like,
I'm here, aren't I?
Right? And he was like, okay, keep doing it.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And then I left class and I called my mom.
Oh, and that's when you told her?
That's when I told my mom. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then what does the next year look like for you? Is it all roses and tulips, or?
No, I mean, I think because I had a job, I was a little fortunate in that regard that I didn't feel like deeply destitute, but I think it was incredibly challenging because I think my want to pursue acting was something that was always there my whole life. But then over the next year, it just really, I keep saying this, but it really caught fire. And so I ended up like taking classes at a conservatory, so then that's a whole thing. And then I started to meet like other actors and like found myself in this community where I felt like, oh my God, I belong here. Like I just belong. And I think a lot of my life I didn't feel like that. And then learning so much about the craft, and and just learning to, and then falling in love with it, because I think that's an important part. And then I think once that happened, it was really hard to have my job. It was really hard to have my day job.
Sounds like you're about to quit.
Yeah. So
Did you?
Well, so what happened was I got to this place where I met actually it's so crazy. He's like currently my acting coach. Where I met him and I went to him for some advice, and I was like, I'm really interested in going to New York and like doing like the full-on conservatory program, and like, what do you think? And we had like a conversation about it, and he was like, yeah, I think this is the right step for you based on X, Y, and Z, and knowing me and my work at that moment in time. And so I was auditioning lightly, right? So I've done like these weird little random things. And then I got this audition to do a show, the Buddy Holly story, which is kind of like a musical presentation show. And they needed someone who could act, sing, and dance.
Oh. Well,
and play the violin.
Well, I was going to say, luckily you have that musician background.
Mm-hmm.
And play the violin.
And play the violin.
Okay.
So I was like, all right. So I had to do 3 tapes for my audition. I think I had to sing, I had to play the violin, and then I had to do a scene, I think, in my audition. So I sent it in, and I'm still working at Kaiser in my cubicle and crying in the hallway. And then I booked it, and I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
But it was in New York.
It was in Rock Island, Illinois.
Oh.
Yeah.
How long would you have to be there for?
A couple months.
Gosh, I can only imagine how great that feeling was. Also, probably surrounded by, how am I going to do this, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. And so I was like, okay. And I think I told my mom, and I was like, I'm just going to ask them. She was like, just ask them if they'll give you like a leave of, I don't know, like a leave of absence or something like that, right? And I was like, okay, cool. So at the same time, I'm there. I interviewed for this job at Kaiser to be the internal medicine, actually just a residency coordinator, which is a big job. It's a big job because it's heavily regulated in terms of like what you need to make sure happens, and it's really about like the residents and them going through their residency program.
And I'm sure it paid more, right?
Yes, it paid more money, and it was a big job. And so I interviewed for the job. I got the job, and then I also got it for internal medicine, which was the hardest and the biggest one to do, and high value or whatever, right? And
you got the job before you got the audition?
I think I got the job. It all happened kind of at the same time.
Jesus.
So I got the job, and so then, so I like booked it, and I got the job, right? And so let's say like Friday I got the job, and I was like, okay, shit. I don't know if I can curse.
You can totally curse.
Okay. So I got the job, and then I like took the weekend, and then I came to work on Monday, and then I went to the director, and I was like, hey, I can't take this job.
You can't? I thought you were gonna do a little stall.
No, I was like, I can't take this job because I don't want to do this. I just really want to be an actor. And so anyway, like I asked them for a leave, and they were like, we'll think about it. Give us a minute. And then I came to work. This was a little time after I came to work, and then they were like, okay, they pulled me into a meeting, and they were like, listen, we're not going to give you the leave. And I said, okay. And they were like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, oh, this is my 2-week notice.
Did you do it like that too?
Yeah.
Oh, surprise, bitches, I'm out.
Probably. I was like, oh, this is my 2-week notice.
They probably thought they were going to like game check you, and then you game check
I do think
them
it was
back.
a little bit like that. I think it was a bit much. Like, now that I'm remembering more accurately, these things happened over a period of months.
Yeah.
So I got like the job offer was first, and then there was some months in between that, and then this happened. And so, yeah, I think they really thought that I was going to say, okay, I won't go. And I was like, no, like I'm going to go 100%.
Yeah.
And that was really like the kickoff.
I want to know, like, did you, you already prepared for the possibility of walking, obviously.
Yeah, I think I just like was always that person a bit. In a good way.
I love your personality, though. Like, oh, yeah. I'm out. Simple. So you go to New York. Well, Rochester.
Rock Island, Illinois.
Illinois. Sorry.
No, it's
Shout out to Illinois. So you go over there, And you're doing this, and at some point, what are the emotions saying to you? I mean, you risked a lot to be there. And did you pack up your apartment, or you just?
Oh yeah, so I sublet my apartment to this writer, a TV writer. I sublet my apartment. I sold like my TV and some of the stuff in it to him, and then I went to my parents' house because it was around Christmas time. I went to my parents' house around Christmas time, and I was there. I did Christmas, and then January 1st or something, I took a plane. They had a ticket, so I took a plane to Illinois.
And they put you up and everything?
Yeah, they put us up all in the house and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So was the pay good?
No. But it was fine for what it was. Like, 'cause my job was being here and just like doing this show. It was dinner theater. This theater called, I think it's called Circa 21, I think is what it's called. Dinner theater type of thing. It was just like such a really great place to like have that introduction for me, like someone like me who was like, I don't know what this is.
But the reason why I ask about the pay and all that is because you walked away from
money,
stability, right?
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
And then you closed down your apartment.
Yes.
So after it wraps, and top of little pay, what's your next play?
I took my little 401k. I took it.
I'm gambling it all.
I did.
I gambled it all on this career.
I took it. I
so
was
okay,
like, that's
you
what
did
I
the
have.
401k, the tour wraps. Then what?
I moved to New York.
Then you moved to you up the ante on suicide.
Yeah.
You said,
oh my god.
She said, "Oh, if I thought LA was hard, because no disrespect to LA, but New York has got to be 10 times harder.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard.
Everyone there lives in a cracker box. I make jokes all the time. You can't really move to New York broke because like there's not a lot of people that are gonna put you up for a long period of time.
No,
not in a place that you could touch the walls.
Yes.
You know?
So I had a lot of family who lived in New York at the time. My tia Lagrange lived in New York. I did not even recall meeting her. But my mom called and I was like, she was like, you can live with your tia. And I was like, okay, great. And so I talked to her and she was like, okay, this is what you do when you get in a taxi. You tell them to go here. Don't let them trick you. And you come here and then you're good. And I walked in her house with my 2 giant suitcases and she was like, hi, this is your room. And I was like,
and that's your mom's sister?
No, it's my mom's cousin. So my part of my family is from Honduras, and so a lot of the part of my family lived and grew up in New York. So it's my mom's probably like second cousin, I think, or something like that.
Because you said tia, I thought that meant like
she's auntie. It is she's at that point in that age difference. She's my aunt.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, like respect.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So surprised she's solely supportive and
100%. Like great. She passed away like during COVID, but sorry, I'm gonna pull myself together.
Go ahead.
But she incredibly supportive. Like I couldn't have done any of it without her.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did you get to stay with her?
I stayed with her probably for like 2 years, something like that. Probably around 2 years. I think that feels like a right number. Yeah.
And then during this whole New York trial, you're doing the conservationships.
I'm doing the conservatory. Yeah, I'm doing the conservatory.
I feel like you're getting.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Sorry.
Like, I'm gonna pull through this story.
No, I'm gonna get it together. Yeah.
So during the 2 years, you're pursuing the conservatory.
Yeah, I'm in the conservatory program, which is like super rigorous.
Can you explain what that is exactly?
Yeah, so it's like it's an alternative to grad school essentially, and basically, so if you're doing like the whole shebang, you probably are doing like in your general like acting class and whatever that method is that's taught at that conservatory, and then you're doing probably movement, voice, speech, Shakespeare. Probably script analysis, theater history, film history, those kinds of things. Like a lot. It is. That's why it's really is like the conservatory word is like really perfect because it's a heavily concentrated thing that you're doing. It runs just like a school year runs, so you have like the summers off, and then in the summers, if you want to do something, you can. It was a lot. It was hard. After
going through a conservatory, do you look at actors that say, "I didn't do acting class, and I just did it"? Do you look at them a little different?
No, I think maybe you could, or I could have right after, but at this point, no. Like, oh my God, this job is so hard.
Really?
The career is just so hard, and I think if you find it, however it comes to you, like, there's people who are like, I've never done an acting class, but acting saved my life. Like I don't have no judgment in any of that.
And then when you watch movies, do you look at movies differently?
I think that some of that came with just like training and you know being an actor and then becoming a filmmaker like that. But I look at them differently and just in a really fun way. Like so, I think I just like engage a little bit differently. Like I'm so curious about like in my head there's like tiny moments of movies or TV shows that like sit there because I just think they're phenomenal.
Okay, like what?
There's this scene in this show Downton Abbey. There's a scene in the beginning of the show where one of this guy is becoming a butler for this new guy, and the new guy is very like I don't like any of this, and they have this back and forth, and the new guy says like something like to him like I don't like you know something like what kind of man has a job where he has to dress another man for a living, and the reaction that the butler has is just
phenomenal.
Like, oh my God. I was like, that's just like he had, because you can see he's holding all of this, and he's also like experiencing this moment of being almost like, you know, demoralized. But it just all shows up in his face. It's such a beautiful, tiny moment. So stuff like that.
Shout outs to him.
Yeah.
Did a great acting job. Going back to your story, though, you complete the conservatory.
Yeah.
Ship.
No ship.
Conservatory.
Yeah.
You complete it.
Yes.
You kill it within under 2 years, as a year. Or
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And then you come back to LA?
No, I stayed in New York, and then I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I just like auditioned for everything.
But now you said your well, I guess I don't know the timeline because your auntie, you said, passed during COVID.
Yeah.
So there must have been a big gap between when you moved there and COVID.
Yes, there was a big gap.
So were you staying with her the whole time?
No, I was with her for 2 years, and then at the point, my partner and I moved in together, and so that's.
Oh, you married like a New Yorker?
No, not a New Yorker,
Oh.
but he's a New Yorker at heart.
Okay. Where is he from?
A bit all over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but did you meet in New York? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
in New
y'all
York.
move in. So you fell in love. You didn't say
Fell in love.
You fell in love in New York, guys?
Yes.
And then you move in together. You complete it, and both y'all you're still not working a real job?
No, so throughout the conservatory program, I worked as a waitress. I was a server.
I think that's the hardest job in the world.
It was so hard. I have so much respect. It was so hard. So
fast food gets all the respect in my book. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, fast food.
It's 2 intense jobs I can't do.
Yeah, so I was a cocktail waitress, and then I was also a server. I worked at like a hotel lobby bar. I worked at another lobby bar. I worked at SDK Meatpacking, which was crazy.
All during
I worked all different places, all during all of this. So I worked at all these different places, and then towards the end of me finishing the conservatory program is when I went to babysitting. I used to babysit years before. I loved it though. I loved it. I never had a bad day, you know? I just felt like I never had a day where it ended and I thought, oh, it was horrible.
Really? With babysitting? How old were the kids?
So my preference was like 2 and up. The family I was with the longest, they were 4 and I think 7 when I started with them. And they were amazing.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's what I did. I mean,
watching kids
not a lot of money because it's babysitting, but
well, babysitters nowadays, by the way, make good money.
No, they do. They do.
Now.
I mean, I was making not terrible money, but it was also the beginning of that starting that again, and so I wasn't making bad money, but I wasn't full time, you know. But there are the jobs that are like great full time benefits and everything. But I wasn't full time. I was part time babysitter, and that's how I.
And then you're auditioning the whole time.
Yes, and then auditioning the whole time, booking like I was doing like off Broadway theater, like so like black box theater and that type of stuff, web series, and you know just the short film, anything like that you could do, which I learned a lot of lessons in. Maybe not everything you should or could do, but that's what I was doing.
What was the most intriguing lesson you learned during that era?
I think it was. When you I mean, I don't know if it's intriguing, but when you finish school, conservatory, whatever, right? There's a lot of rhetoric of like, you know, audition for everything. And to some degree, I agree with that. But I also found myself in situations that were not healthy and that were dangerous. And so I think maybe not audition for everything. Audition maybe for most things. And, stand 10 toes down when you think that something's out of line and walk away.
What's an example of like a situation you put yourself into that was like unhealthy or not safe?
Yeah, I had booked this play. And I had gone to the first rehearsal, which was more of like just kind of read through type of like vibes. And I remember that the character I was going to play was in a very abusive relationship. And I had asked the director, hey, so there's some physical violence that happens to the character in the play. Are we going to like fight choreo this, and walk through this and da-da-da? And the director was like, no, he's just going to grab you and pull you across stage. And I was like, okay, that seems like a bad plan and really dangerous, like physically and emotionally and mentally and everything. And that was a show I was like, went home and I was like, I'm out. Thank you so much. Yeah. I've also like shown up for an audition and auditioned in a hallway, which was shocking to me that I left my job early to audition in a hallway. So things like that could happen. These are real stories. Mm-hmm. So I think that there is some of like, you kind of got to learn the ropes of like what's what and what is, and like, learn how to read like a breakdown, research the people. And then sometimes you do all that, but then you show up and you're like, this seems not okay. Yeah. You're like, or I've had friends show up and the director hits on them and I'm like, no, that's not okay. Yeah. It's not okay. Yeah. So we're walking away from this situation. Thank you. No, thank you. Yeah. And that's very hard to do.
I was going to say that's got to be really tough to do.
Very hard to do.
Because you're like, this could be my first real break.
And you just want to work. Yeah. You just want to work. Mm-hmm. Even if, you want to work, you want to learn, you want to work, you want to practice. So, yeah.
So after you work in a hustle and bustle of jobs, I want to get closer to your real big, like, whoa, I'm quitting these jobs. You do quit the jobs. Obviously. Yeah. We're watching you on Netflix. So what's the big play that kind of like says, I can do this is my 2-week notice thing?
Yeah, I think I was working so we're fast forwarding like, okay. I was working for a nonprofit, which I adore, and I still work with them now. And that's when like things start moving, right? That's when I'm like, oh gosh, I think the ship is like sailing. Okay. And it really around booking Beauty in Black. And so, but I didn't quit right away. Yeah. I waited.
Gracefully did it. Shout out to the nonprofit. It's made in.
So I've worked with Made in Her Image, but the nonprofit is now known as Education Action Alliance, and it's a nonprofit that focuses on supporting LGBTQ plus youth in the state of Arizona. Okay. And so that is who I was working with, and now I'm a board member on that nonprofit. It's exciting. But so I it was like a slow crawl to that. And then booking Straw, I think, was kind of the moment where it was like, okay, I think actually, and it was a lot less about like 2 weeks notice. It was a lot more about like, I actually don't have the capacity to do all of these things at the level at which they need to be done. Yeah. I think that's really kind of what happened for me. Things came to a head in that way. Yeah.
So can you take me through Beauty in Black? Like what the whole feelings, vibes, calls, the whole big shebang behind that moment?
Yeah. It was, I fondly deeply remember the audition because, I just remember I was like, oh, the scene is long, and I want to make sure that like it's active and interesting and keeps the viewer watching, and trying to like curate just like dynamic choices throughout the whole scene that keep changing. So that was really fun. But I did that, and then my agents called and they were like, hey, like, so you booked this, and I was like, what?
Yeah. What does that mean? What do I do?
And I think I'm a freezer. The show in Atlanta.
Okay. And where were you at the time?
In LA.
Oh, you
I
were
was in
LA.
LA.
Okay,
Yeah, I was in LA. Yeah, I was like, I think I just froze a bit. Like, I think froze in like processing because it's just.
Ashley, you still there?
Yeah.
Did you hang up?
Yeah.
Is your phone on mute?
Yeah, I think I told my husband and he was very excited and I was just like, because the pressure, you know, of wanting to just do a good job and that whole thing, and also just like dynamically, like, what does it mean and what does this mean for my career and all those other things. And then
you had to call the job and be like,
well, I kept my job throughout that whole thing.
But did you tell them remote? What was
I told them, well, I was remote already.
Oh, okay.
I worked remotely, and I just told them, like, hey, this is what's happening. My schedule might be a little funky. I had an intern at the time. I did communications.
Okay.
So it's still very, like, you know, at home type thing.
Yeah.
And just like really like setting expectations and that sort of thing. And they knew, and they were just so incredibly supportive. I've just been very blessed with really supportive people that I've worked with or for. And
but that's also
so
a testament to your integrity, right? Because they wouldn't have been that way if you didn't have a lot of integrity in your work.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
So that was it was just shocking. You know, I was really you don't know what it's gonna be, you know. And this is like a funny little thing. But my mom, like years ago, my mom was like, "I'm gonna write a letter to Tyler Perry and Oprah, okay? I'm gonna write this letter." And I was like, "Mom, like, you need to chill. Like, this is not how this business works." And she's like, "I'm gonna write a letter and I'm gonna send them this letter about you." And I was like, "All right, I don't know, go forth. Like, do what you need to do."
Did she ever do it?
No, she didn't. They
God.
wrote the letter though. Her and my aunt wrote the letter, but they never sent it. And so like calling my mom to tell her that was hilarious.
I love that.
It was
I love
great.
that.
It was
See, and
great.
that's a part of manifestation, right? To some degree.
Yeah, I mean, that lady manifested it. Give it to her. She'll give it to God.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna mail my Christmas list to her.
Legit.
So take me to Straw now.
Yeah, so Straw was like it was like I had just come off of Beauty and Black, which is really just really invigorating experience. And just like,
What are the hours, by the way?
The long and short.
Okay.
A mixed bag.
Like 8 to 12 hours, or
Yeah, or sometimes I think it could be longer, but not bad. Not for me. But and then Straw was like a month afterwards. I got a call from my agent. Was like, "Hey, you know, we're gonna audition for this," and I was like, "Okay, great." And it was like it was something to do, I would say, the audition. So I called one of my coaches and I was like, "Yo, like I need some help on like how to throw myself into this headspace, like with like high energy and things like that." And so we kind of worked on that, and then did the audition, and then again the same thing, just got a call, but it was so fast. It was so fast. And then went to Atlanta, and I thought I was gonna be there for a while. I was not. I was like, "Oh, we're doing this. Like, okay."
How long were you there for? For how long did it take?
I was there for I think 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Maybe.
Okay.
Not very long at all. And
Can you tell us about Straw?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's I'm trying to think what I can say.
It's gonna drop June 6th. You're fine.
Is.
You're
Okay,
fine.
cool.
Fine.
Yeah. No, it's a story. It's just a story about a how do I say this in a more meaningful way? It's really a story that's just reflective on how hard Black women are hit on a day-to-day basis with just really difficult stuff, difficult situations, in all avenues of their lives, and what happens when that is magnified and really comes to a head. Yeah, it's a bit sad in a way, because it's a real reality, but that is what it's about. It's about seeing how that can function at its worst and its highest, and how that functionality like affects Black women. For me, like being a Black woman living in New York City, you know, it was interesting, like realizing that in a day that I could have like 5 interactions that were just like trash because I am a Black woman. So this film really just like shines like a really good like light on that and really amplifies it in an extreme way, because it is film and cinema, but a way that I think is really relevant and understandable, and relatable.
And Taraji, she plays a single parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone else, are they single parents in it? Am I allowed to ask that much?
No, everyone else
but
is
you get
not.
to see everyone getting hit from all different ways.
You get to see the results of her being hit like that.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see the results of what the constant, like, it's, you know, just like imagine somebody just being punched, you know.
Every day of my life, guys.
Yeah.
Send tissues in.
Send the ones with lotion. We don't want that dry shit.
Send the Kleenex.
Yeah.
All right,
So
but no,
soft.
continue.
But yeah, that's what it's her being like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, hit in all these different areas of her life, all at the same time, and what that can do, like what that can do to a person and where that can lead us.
And this is a Netflix original, right? Now, it's not. Is any relation to Tyler Perry? Or
Yeah,
anything?
it is.
Oh,
it's a Tyler Perry.
Sounds like Tyler Perry written
It
all
is.
over it.
It's Tyler Perry for 100%. Yeah.
Did you get to work with him up close? And
I did.
how was that experience?
Oh, it was so great.
Are you ever gonna say anything bad about anybody? I'm joking. No. I'm joking, Ashley.
I think I've been very blessed.
You've been very, yeah.
I think I've had very positive situations. I've heard lots of things from people about lots of people or whatever, but I don't know. I think I've been really blessed. Like, I feel very protected. I feel like I work when I need to be working. I feel like I've been forced into states of rest when I need to rest. And I've had really good experiences. Like, I've looked up to Taraji forever.
Yeah,
like,
she's very strong.
Forever.
Yeah.
She's an incredible actress. Like, incredible.
And then you get to work with, you know, one of the godfathers in the industry, Tyler Perry.
Exactly. And so I think,
and he came from theater too.
Yes,
so,
yes, yeah. Right. And so and I think, like, the two of them, they're so playful. You know, they're very, I found him to be a very kind person. I think it was really nice to be on that set because a lot of, I think, what you get as an actor, like, obviously, like, you're always trying to get to set, right? And I think it's so funny because we're trying to get somewhere that we've never been. Like, I'm just trying to get there. I don't know if I'll like it when I get there, but I'm trying to get there. And I end up being on this film and being on this set with two people who, like I said, are very playful. But so it's really interesting to watch, like, dynamic Black people do this work, but they're living in it. You know, they're living in it. It's so easy to feel so precious about the work, and I understand that because I have that, because there's so much anxiety about really wanting to give what you've got, to give your best, but to watch her just be so seamless and to like just, I looked at her and I'm like, oh, she's a person, and, you know, not that she's not a person, right? But I'm like,
is she
she's
petite
a person.
too? Is she tiny?
No, I think she's like a normal size. Normal size, whatever that is.
You know, sometimes you're in this industry and you see people and they're so tiny.
So tiny. Yeah, no, I think she's like normal size.
Okay.
But just to see, like, her, like, living her life, like, doing her job, and then being freaking amazing. Like, at one point, I swear we're shooting something, and I was just like staring at her, and I was like, girl, you gotta get back in this scene, get in the moment, because I just was like, it's just so in awe of her ability and her capacity, and it was really like, I just felt like I walked away feeling like, I can't wait for the point in my career and in my life as an artist when I can harness that.
I love that.
It was really nice. Yeah.
Have you seen the end result of Straw yet?
I don't know if what I saw is the end.
Oh, but you do get a, like, sneak peek it.
I had a tiny peek.
What?
I had a tiny peek.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Is it weird watching yourself?
I hate watching myself. Actually.
Do you critique yourself?
I try not to. It's so hard, you know, because, like, you know, as you have to like, in some degree, we naturally do this because you do an audition. You got to watch the tape. You're like, let me watch the tape. Okay, that's the take. Okay, we'll send that one, you know, but you watch it, that's not the tape. You know, what happened to my hair? You know, like, all these things. So it's hard not to do that, but maybe a little bit, but I think in the end, I just, in one sense, success to me is, like, doing your best, and I did my best. So, like, I think I try to always, like, separate a little bit when I'm like, you know, I don't know what that is my best on that day in that moment.
Yeah. So now that you see a lot of success also in Atlanta, Do you feel like there's a part of you that's gonna move over there?
No.
She said no, firm. You
Listen.
keeping your feet in LA?
I don't know. I like to think of myself as a bit of a vagabond on the inside.
Okay.
So I do like to move around. So every time I move somewhere, I don't really decorate because I think I'm leaving.
And your husband's with all of this.
Yeah.
I support.
We're so together on this.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we're the vagabond thing. Like I think we're two peas like in a pod on that. But no, I mean I'd love to. LA's fine. I'd love to live somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'd
You're
love to
open.
live. Yeah, I'm very open.
Okay.
I'm very open. I think the pandemic also like showed me that like I could live anywhere for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I lived in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Which is a strong choice.
Who made that choice?
My in-laws lived there.
Okay,
My in-laws lived there. And it was really nice to be with family during such a difficult time. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, you can keep up with Ashley. Where can they keep up with you? Go ahead.
I'm
Shoot
like
your
legit.
shot in the middle. Yeah.
Hola. ¿Cómo está? No, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty only on Instagram. That is it. So at ASHLEY VERSHER with a V. That's it.
At ASHLEY VERSHER. No space. No
Nothing.
under nothing.
Nothing else.
And then tell us where we can watch Straw and all the updates on Straw.
Yes, Straw on Netflix. It'd be great.
It'll be great. It's a Tyler Perry production too.
It is.
Yes, cool.
It is.
And by the way, last question. But
Yeah?
how was his lot? Was it phenomenal?
It's fire.
For real?
Yeah, it is. It is fire. I remember it's huge. I was
Really?
on one side one night and I was like, "Hey guys, I'm just gonna walk back," and they're like, "No." They're like, you're way away from where you think you are. It's
Really?
huge. It's
and
huge.
did you get to tour it?
I didn't tour it, but I've been around a lot of it. I didn't even know you could tour it. I didn't even
I'm
think
pretty
about
sure
that.
you could tour it though, no?
I was just
that's
like,
what they do at Paramount. Don't they let you
my
tour it?
thoughts were like happy to be here constantly. So I was like, I need nothing. With water, maybe, but happy to be here. Yeah, it's nice.
I could see you being like that.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
just
can
like, can
see
I
it,
just have
yeah.
coffee and eggs?
Yes, and they don't even have to be brown.
No,
I'll take the white.
I take a hard boiled. That was what I wanted.
Wow.
I did.
Okay. Well, staying true to eggs. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciated your eggs. They were really good.
Thank you. There's
Um,
too much olive oil, but that's fine.
I think it was fine.
Oh,
It
thanks.
was like perfectly fluffy, like restaurant style. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Peace out. Peace.